Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, India, and the rest of the people in the world. I started it. No, this is I'm no Einstein. This is Raju, host. This is a MedBricks webcast. I'm the host. Welcome you all. And this is a kind of a new format. I just got the little music on it, going there, going for a little bit of music. Um, I think one of my guests is having a hard time figuring out the technology from Silicon Valley. Can you believe that? A person from Silicon technology is complicated, as you know, is not that easy as they say that computers are taking over, will take over humans. It's a long shot, long shot. Okay, is that we have to still they don't understand basic intuitive things. The Michio Kaku said that the best is a squirrel knowledge. A squirrel will have the best computer will have squirrel knowledge of squirrel. Is agreed or not? But this healthcare media channel, we are on 7 media channels. We broadcast live, and then we are trying to do different things this is kind of promoting innovation through exposing to different subjects: mathematics, physics, quantum physics, geometry, then technology and arts. All of them together is a mix of combination creates the innovation. It doesn't create innovation from studying management systems. Management system is good. It runs you in efficiency, the maximum efficiency it runs. But I don't know why it is there, is not there. But Sherry, are you there? Let me bring her. If you see Sherry, are you there? She's having a hard time. I don't know why, but let us see. When she comes back, I will introduce you to her. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so it is not easy to produce a small show that is giving people are getting tired of the same kind of branding and advertisements after the pandemic. We want to know science. We want to know really the stories behind science. That's what is exactly the need. People wanted to get a new kind of education and understanding of science. So that's in that attempt I'm doing it. I hope pharmaceutical companies and medical device companies use this as a platform to promote their products, because this is explaining what the basic science is, not promoting just a product. Their product alone is not a sales pitch. We're going to provide a basic science behind these all medical advances. So that's our goal. But let me Uh, Sherry, are you there? I'm not sure. She's she. I can't hear her. I don't know what it is. She's Sherry Duval is supposed to be there. Medigram CEO. She is there. I see her, but she's not answering anything. But anyway, I'm going to start the program. This is about the Ramanujan. Um, that's a new music I started it. I'm no Albert Einstein, but I'm pretty good. So let me. Uh, yes. Okay. I don't know why this is behind the scenes came out, but let us see what it is. I'm still technology savvy, but still a lot of changes. Today we're going to talk about let Sherry come and fix her problems, but I'm going to talk about no cannot she you can she's saying Sherry, can you hear me?
Ambalapooza is a small town in southern
No, no,
India
no,
which
no.
is famous for two things: the Sri Krishna temple
Just
and
one
park.
second, guys. No. Okay. So let me. I don't know. She's having a hard time. I can't hear her, and she needs to fix that technology problem. Um, and I can't see her face either. I always tell the people guests to come early, 30 minutes in advance. Even think about that. People from Silicon Valley having a hard time. This technology, it is always challenging. I don't know why. I hope these people from Sherry, what you can ask for the help section, ask their help. They can help you. If you can hear me. um, so how to get into system, why they cannot see you, and we cannot see you and hear you. Maybe your mic is if you're joining with iPhone, it's a little bit challenges. If you join with the Chrome browser from a laptop, is easier. But yeah, so you need to talk with the need help, you click it there, click there, they will guide you how to get into the system. But anyway, so I'm going to start that. While I wait for her, I'm going to continue a conversation of the greatest talk about. I'm going to talk about a very very famous guy, but nobody knows. Very few scientists know about him. Is from ancient India. So we're going to talk about him in a second, but I'm going to try one more time if the Sherry can join. No, I cannot hear you, Sherry. Um, she's having a lot of. Sorry, guys. It is technical glitches. When I do everything is perfect, something goes wrong. It is this is technology is just unbelievably complicated. It gives you advantages. Same time, people like me can give up. Let's talk about the greatest scientists of India and other countries, but at the same time, it gives you um, yeah, I don't know. She's saying that she could not able to get in. I see her. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to continue with the Ramanujan. Maybe I will next week. Maybe I'll bring her back again. I don't know why. So I'm okay. Let me. Today is a little bit of challenges, but this is very important topic. We need to really um, learn about this gentleman, and let me talk about it because I started it. I prepared so much things to teach and learn, and then this technology frustrates you. Is a frustrating to everybody. I think. I hope I'm not the only one. I came from technology background. I came from science background. Still, this technology is only works for the big people. Amazon and basically we all going to work for them anyway. That is going to be the future. So we need to give up and all our ideas. We need to be robots and then follow them. That's the only way we can survive. I think. Anyway, let's go and um, let's go and let me finish talking about the this one. So, on the onset of the Wuhan outbreak in coronavirus, there is a World Health Organization declared emergency in the Wuhan coronavirus. On the March 20 in December 2020, and the right after the December 2020, so you before this outbreak, a microorganism we is a yeah, okay. Now she is
Are
back.
you able to hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Well, I please
Yeah.
forgive me. I switched the browser. I was
Okay,
on
let
Safari
me.
and I switched it to Chrome. So
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
have to use the Chrome browser, but still I can't hear you clear. But something I will check one more time. You're using some kind of a. Let me bring you. Just let me bring a sherry on the
Alpaisum.
table. Oh, what is going on?
Alpaisum is a dessert that's made mostly of sweetened.
I don't know why it is. It is. I'm trying to bring sherry there to the main stage. Let me. Hello, Sherry.
Hi, Ramana. Thank you for your
Yeah.
patience.
Oh my God. What is going on? We are having a lot of problems today.
Oh, yeah. I was on. I had to reset my password, and I did pop in right before 6, but I guess it didn't like the Safari browser, so I
No, it
switched.
doesn't. It doesn't work with Safari. That's why I said that the new one I sent use the Chrome browser. Maybe I should put on the top of it because Safari browser doesn't work there. You have to
Yeah.
use a Chrome browser. You
Okay, I'm
know.
in Chrome now. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't start yet. That's good. I got the good news. It's about to start my program, but anyway, we had a little bit of a glitches. Sorry, guys. Even Silicon people have a problem nowadays. With technology.
I don't
She
work
can
in
tell you.
browsers. I work in mobility.
She can tell you all the blues about the technology, guys, and everything. Let us talk about. I'm going to bring. It's, Sherry, I know you for a long time. I met you a while ago, and then in Silicon Valley, and you came a long way. From when I met you, you're in the beginning stages of the Medigram, and then you started this process. And what did you so far achieved in that came to the journey? Let us talk just without PowerPoints. Do you want me to do the PowerPoint, or you want to talk about it just general?
Oh, well, we could do both. So why don't I start
Yeah.
answering the question, then we can jump into the PowerPoint.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot to learn, and I became very interested and passionate about helping physicians compute safely and quickly, no matter where they are. So I was inspired because cell phones were never designed for clinical or hospital environments, and I have a lot of physicians, friends, and relatives that need access to timely information. And when I started peeling back the onion of why it was such a challenge, in fact, it's still a leading cause of preventable death. I got really deep into understanding the technologies that are there, as well as what needs to happen from a technical standpoint. And in fact, I had a chance to, or still, I'm still collaborating with a lot of technical experts through IEEE and UL. And so there's a technical challenge with mobility that makes it very different from browsing or web apps. And then there's also the challenges of safety, security, and privacy, which is something that I work a lot in with IEEE. And so I think I really enjoyed working with industry leaders to co-define what mobile medicine should really be, and it's manifested into a few books so far, which is kind of how we got reconnected.
So before yeah, really sorry about that, guys. Let me introduce Sherry actually proper way. She's the editor for Mobile Medicine. She's CEO for Medigram, an application that does the communication between the doctors and between the doctors and
Just share.
patients. It's a new application. I'm
Not
going to
not
go.
the patient, the
What is that?
not the patient, not the
Not the
patients,
patient. So
because of
among
all
the
the
providers.
privacy.
Oh, that's very good,
Just the care
actually.
team.
Oh, sorry about that. Among the providers, secure and powerful communication. One thing she told me a long time ago, you told me that, Sherry, that one thing you said that communication, communication is results in deaths. If you miscommunication or delay in communications results in death. That stuck with me for a while. Can you explain that a little bit on that one to the doctors? How and the general public, how important is the communication among the doctors itself, referral doctor to the primary care doctors to the healthcare diagnostic center or MRI center or CT scan. These are things that communication is a critical. And tell me what the delays cause the problems, and then how you're going to solve that problem.
Yeah, so the challenge is like if your older relative, has chest pain and faintness, and they're at the doctor's office, and say they land there and it's like 4:45, say, and they say they go to the neurologist because they're feeling dizzy. That neurologist needs information from the cardiologist, and if your family member is in the office at 4:45, they're not going to get through the phone line because there's lots of patients trying to get through the phone line at the same time. And so with one of our trials, one of the things that we did was that the neurologist was able to get in touch with the cardiologist within 45 seconds and make.
You need to talk loud. We
Oh,
lost you.
the neurologist is able to get in touch with the cardiologist within 45 seconds and make a care decision, a definitive care decision, based on the
Correct.
information that the cardiologist had, that the patient, did need to go to the emergency room, because there is no single source of truth of one doctor that has all the information for complex patients.
Absolutely. So this is not only that's a neurologist, a cardiologist. They need to put stents on the time. This is one of the things. I remember Dr. Chris Leggett is a doctor from Atlanta. One time he told me it is so critical to put a stent during the after the episode of the heart attack. You got to do within few. You got to respond within 1 hour to the hospital call.
That's
And
right.
if there is any delay in that call's response, it's going to have a lot of problems. So I remember, particularly in the rural areas, that's a big challenge, in fact.
That's right.
So I think that is you're giving a big opportunity and big you're facilitating a great process for that kind of a communication between among the providers.
Yeah, no, the reason why they can't do it today is because web apps, which most companies want to use because that's what they know how to make and that's what they have already. But the problem is that these web apps are made in corporate environments that have really good connectivity. And doctors, whether they're in a hospital or in their doctor's office, they don't have the type of connectivity. Like they can't use an app like we're using right now, or even LinkedIn or Twitter on their phone in their office or the hospital, because it won't load. And so that's why this challenge needs to be solved and can be solved with something like Metagram.
Sherry, I attended a Stanford Medicine X conference. That's where I met Andrea Downing. She is one of the CNN contributors now, and she said that people. I'm not going to go against. I'm not throwing stones on the Facebook. They did a lot of good things also, but in Facebook, the support groups, the people who are cancer survivors, breast cancer, or particularly survivors support groups, or breast cancer people are going through chemotherapy, they put that information in the support groups. That is not protected that's one of the challenges that she's talking about. And I met her. She was actually pursuing about that thing. She started a nonprofit organization, I guess. That when I should be talking, I wonder. I like to talk with her soon. But that is. Tell me, how do that secure communication, secure these social medias? How do they protect the important information about the patients?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And so, physicians, really abide by and they promise an oath in their profession to first do no harm. It's a Hippocratic oath. And so you have to understand that they feel very passionately about the privacy of their patients' data. And I think the fundamental challenge that we have is that of different values. And so if you don't value first do no harm and you don't care if someone gets harmed, then you're not going to put any privacy protections into place for patient data, and that's why it happens. Did that
So
answer your question? Yeah.
go ahead.
Did that answer your question? I just want.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're giving us some. I think data breach and all those things are happening, and silly everybody is blaming the Silicon Valley for that, and then so rightly so some extent. But the so we need a lot of innovations in healthcare. Healthcare, the problem with the healthcare innovations are, you know, is just headless chicken. There's 1,000 apps. Every insurance plan their own their own app, their own portals. You have then every doctor has their own portal. Every Medicaid, all every insurance and the employer has a different portal. All these unbelievable amount of complexities they're creating for simple the system. They call it is innovation. And you always tell me that I always think innovation. I was talking about innovation. People are using very loosely word innovation. Tell me, I was impressed when you said that uh, innovation is not that what you people think. Just
Well, so innovation has different phases, and there's the idea phase, and then there's the implementation phase, and you need different types of skill sets, to make both of those happen. And so I think one of the challenges that we see is that a lot of companies have a history of promoting technical people who build prototypes that are interesting looking, that have cool features, but they have not addressed the systems engineering and the user implementation and training so that the person or the patient or the clinician or whoever the app is targeted for, has access to it and knows how to use the technology. And so that to me and to a lot of physicians, an innovation is something that can change the way that they work, that changes a job that they are accountable for, that's measured by some kind of quality measure or measured by some other business measure. It's not measured by a cool looking app. And so that's where I think most people's idea of innovation when they think about medicine is incomplete, I think is the best way to put it.
In your mobile medicine, one of the things in the book that is interdisciplinary fields are so critical. You said that is not only it is all different kind of backgrounds are important. That was a very that is a very natural to me. That's why introducing different fields in my book and in my program and my broadcast. So when I get back, when we get back, I will go through your presentation. Let me do the presentation. People are waiting, and then we get back and talk with you. Some of your PowerPoint, I can put it there, the slides
Okay,
there.
sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah.
So let me, guys. That is okay. So on the this is I'm going to talk about Ramanujan. I'm going to talk about Wuhan outbreak on the offset of December 2020. or 2019 or 2020 January, there is a Wuhan, on the onset of the Wuhan outbreak, we badly needed the structure of the virus. We don't know what is the spike, what is the structure of the virus are. They don't even know what it looks like. So what they did was, one thing, they may be hiding a lot of things, but the one thing, Dr. Rao Zia, Dr. Zia, that's what I'm saying, Tony. I'm saying, right? Zai, Dr. Zai, I think I did say, but he has an Indian name, first name. I don't know why, but he has a Rao Zai. He's a Tsinghua University X-ray crystallography. He's a biophysicist. He is one of the first few guys put the coronavirus data, the structure on the cyberspace. They immediately informed the NIH, and then, and not in the cyberspace directly, but he gave to the NIH. They gave the structure of the coronavirus and the spike proteins, but then we come to know the spike proteins are different than the previous coronavirus. That's what the amazing about it. They immediately put in within a few days, because of the advances in X-ray crystallography and all those cryogenic electronic microscope, all those things caused it. So so actually one of the credit goes to one of the important guys, that Dr. Zai Rao. He is a Tishunga University professor, and he put there, thanks to him, and he truly deserves the credit. But so there is a Oak Ridge National Laboratories. There is a Summit computer. Is one of the fastest computer on the planet. It is one of the top one or two computers, the fastest computer. Let me tell you how fast it is. It does a 3 quintillion, yeah, quintillion. I'm saying that right. Quintillion operations. Quintillion, right? I'm a foreigner, so quintillion. So it's a billions of operations it does per second. Think about that, guys. It's a per second. As I owned by IBM. Actually, I went to Oak Ridge. My friend Ramapuluri is born there, and he was a mathematician. He passed away, and I went there to visit. He wanted to show me all the Oak Ridge National Laboratories, premier research institutions of the Americas. It is a very secret town. They did a Manhattan project there, actually. So I visited there, and Ram Upaluri is from my hometown, close to my hometown, and distantly related to me. And then his mother she's from Japan, and so I stayed with them. It is that picture that you see on the right hand side is his mother and Ram Upaluri. But I visited in the left side. You see that Manhattan project no more. They dismantled the Manhattan project. Which dropped the actually Nagasaki, and there's some bombs were dropped from the Manhattan project. But so after the Trump declared the Defense Production Act, so all the computers were dedicated to find a cure or find solutions for the coronavirus. We went on a lockdown, and then what computer summit computer allocated the allocation of the billions of data points are there. So it spit out 77 compounds, molecules that can possibly treat the COVID-19. That's what it did. The Summit computer, we did it. It took a Summit computer is the fastest computer on the planet. It is a three quintillion operations it does per second. Remember that. There's nobody can match that, any existing computers right now. So he did spit out the 77 compounds, molecules that can possibly treat the COVID-19 drug. So, but if you take it took 2 weeks. IBM computer, the fastest computer, took 2 weeks. But if you do go to the wet labs, just to go through the regular process of and petri dishes, it would have taken 2 years and more, maybe 10 years sometimes. So it's not easy. So the computers simulated the process, and then it went down to 2 weeks. That is the great thing about the computational power of the fastest computers. But still, it took 2 weeks. Why? I tell you, it's a billions of data points The numbers are mind-boggling. I'm going to explain you what that numbers are with a video. I'm going to show uh, play a video for you. I think that is a
boil milk and rice.
okay. I'm going to bring that.
Ambalapooza is a small town in southern India which is famous for two things: the Sri Krishna temple and Pal Payasam. Pal Payasam is a dessert that's made mostly of sweetened boiled milk and rice. According to legend, the king of Ambalapooza was a big chess enthusiast, and he often challenged visitors to a game. One day, a travelling sage arrived at the court of the king and challenged him to a game of chess. The king accepted and asked the sage what he'd like as a prize if he won. The sage said he'd like some rice. He'd like 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, and for the number to be doubled for each square after that. So the king put a single grain of rice on the first square, 2 grains on the second square, 4 on the third and 8 on the fourth. He looked at the grains and thought what a ridiculously modest prize. He accepted the sage's wish, and the game began. The sage played well and easily won. True to his word, the king ordered a bag of rice to be brought and started to count out the grains onto the squares. He was shocked when he got to just the 12th square and found that he needed to put 2,048 grains onto it. He realized that the prize was going to be a lot bigger than it had first seemed. After a long calculation, he figured out that for the 30th square, he'd need about 536 million grains. By the 40th square, he'd need about 550 billion grains of rice. And for the last square, the 64th, he'd have to count out a staggering 9,220,000 trillion grains. Altogether, he'd have to give the sage about 18,500,000 trillion grains. A single long grain of rice weighs, on average, about 0.029 grams, so the total weight of rice that the king needed to give the sage was about 535 billion tons. That's more than 1,000 times greater than all the world's milled rice production in 2019-20. The king realized it was impossible for him to pay his debt. In the legend, the sage turns out to be the god Krishna in disguise. When he saw how upset the king was, he appeared to the king in his true form. He told the king that he didn't have to settle the debt immediately, but could pay it over time. So the king started to serve Pal Payasam in the temple free every day to pilgrims until the debt was cleared. In mathematics, this kind of growth is described as exponential, and as we've seen, it can give rise to large numbers very quickly. The function describing the number of grains of rice per square is 2 to the x minus 1, where x is the number of squares.
But anyway, that's so that numbers can go that fast. Exponential functions are very tricky. Looks very simple in the beginning, but it just goes and up the top, under the top to the high, very high numbers. So that was the big challenge. I'll give you one more example of that, how easy, how difficult these numbers are. So you went out with a girlfriend or a wife to a nice party, a banquet party, and she comes back and she takes the necklace, that pearl necklace she has, and drops it on the neat jewelry box. If it falls if it falls naturally in a particular order, it falls, right? A certain pattern, it falls. So I want to tell you, very strange. If you want to repeat that to get the same exact pattern, you know how long it takes? It takes more than 1 billion years to get the simple necklace to get the exact pattern on the day. She can do every day for next billion years. She would not come all the way to the half of the way to the completion of the process. So the numbers are very strange. That's what the protein molecule. What is a protein and spike proteins? The coronavirus spike protein. What it has? It is a protein. So the number of ways it can to understand the protein, you need to have a really understand the numbers. Numbers are the key to understand the protein structures, proteins, and the viruses. They're microorganisms. You need the viruses. Understand that. We need to understand the big numbers. I give you life in numbers. The 20 amino acids are there. If you take the 20 amino acids in putting a different, that's a life form, that's the building blocks of the life. If you put in 100 different ways, 100 ways, if you say permutations and combinations you could put together, the amount it comes, the zeros it comes out, it looks like 20 to the power of 100, looks very simple on the top. But, our human mind cannot fathom, cannot grasp these kind of numbers. So the zeros you see on the screen are the number of that many ways you can put it the amino acids in just for 100 locations, 100 ways to do the distribute the amino acids. So diversity of life is, you understand why you got this so much diversity of life through 20 amino acids because of that reason. The exponential factors of the exponential, it is embedded in the numbers. So, so, so now we talked about life in numbers. Let us talk about death in numbers. How much the coronavirus? Half a billion people infected out of 8 billion people. Half a billion people infected with the coronavirus still is continuing. Okay, and the long COVID problems, we don't know what is the long COVID effect is. Still, Dr. Eric Topol is telling there's a long COVID, there's a humongous, a huge on our healthcare burden. That is a big burden on the healthcare systems. So that's almost more than 500,000 people dead just due to straightforward coronavirus, still dying. 700,000 people dead and still dying. Think about that. Okay, so around the world. So we are in a serious trouble, and then the protein can mutate. So we need to understand the numbers. So even the summit computer, one man, never afraid of these numbers. Even the summit computers cannot do without algorithm. You need a particular algorithm. So you need to use a special kind of algorithms that if you don't use that algorithms, it can take 1,000 years even for the summit computer. Okay, so don't think that computers can do automatically spit out in 2 weeks. Even 2 weeks is not enough. Is 200 years is not enough. So I think you need a quantum computer. Maybe is next revolution is coming up. But this particular computers, traditional computers, cannot do without algorithms. You need to understand what the so that one man who understood, never afraid of big numbers, the man who knew infinity. His name is Srinivasa Ramanujan from India, southern India. He loved numbers. He was born in 1887. He lived a very short life in 1920. He was born in a small house in a small village in near Chennai, not near Chennai, but kind of a village in the a lot of temples and a lot of goddesses and gods in that town. He was born. He was born in a very that is a house he was that is the house he grew up. It is no electricity, no running water. It is a basically just a one bedroom, if you call it so. It's a very simple things that they have. So the the Srinivasa Ramanujan, what he did was he started writing equations, mind-boggling equations. He started writing. Then this was crazy. Ramanujan, one of the equations, if you see on the right hand side, 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to infinity, if we add it, it is a minus 1 over 12, not infinity. That's kind of strange, kind of in a certain situations that will happen. That happens. So Ramanujan giving this math madness is producing equations and left and right. People even could not understand Indians. So he sent a letter to the Oxford University, Cambridge. He sent a letter to Cambridge. G.H. Hardy is saying that he did not even go to school. He did not finish even a degree in mathematics. He doesn't have a degree in mathematics. He doesn't have. He was failing every other subject except the mathematics, and he hardly has a degree in mathematics. So he wanted to. Yep, he sent a 11-page notes to the GHRD, and then he was stunned. The one of the leading professors of mathematics was stunned to see Ramanujan's mathematics. So they when he moved to England, eventually he moved to England, and he did enormous contributions in mathematics. But they asked him, "How did you?" They were shocked, because this guy has any formal education. He hardly had any books on his hand. How did you arrive these equations? He was reluctant to answer, but he answered that God has gave me in the dreams. That's what he said. What God is? What God is? They asked him. That's question. Actually, it was written in the biography. Is written that way, in the similar way. But he said that the goddess Namagiri. I have a photo, and he was showing the photo. So these are scientists, Western scientists, highest logic and reason in the mathematical world. They're asking, what you mean to say the woman in the photo, they gave you the equations for you? He said, yes. So they gave up. Never mind. Sorry, we asked you. But listen, wait until what the other people say about him. Okay. I'm going to tell you what other people, Michio Kaku. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to say you what is a Michio Kaku said about him is Michio Kaku is a famous figure in the science channels, as everybody knows. You see him in Discovery channels quite often. He says about Srinivasa Ramanujan. Srinivasa Ramanujan was the strangest man in all of mathematics, probably in the entire history of science. He has been compared to the bursting supernovae, illuminating the darkest, most profound corners of mathematics. That's what he said. The Freeman Dyson is one of the well-respected theoretical physicists and a mathematician, the Freeman Dyson. Ramanujan had some sort of a magic tricks that we don't understand, says the late Freeman Dyson of the Institute of Advanced Study from Princeton University. The Facebook founder, the Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook founder, now Meta founder, with a partial math book, he did the entire modern mathematics and moved the field forward. Just think of it, if he had access to the internet, he is still selling it. Yeah, that's correct. Then, no, he used to be in Atlanta, mathematics university professor. Now he moved to some place I don't even know where he was. Ken Ono, the professor of mathematics, used to be at the Emory University in Atlanta. He studied the Ramanujan papers in detail. He went to India and he did actually a video, the documentary on him. Says Ramanujan's work in mathematics is the epitome of intuition. For a brief period of time, 5 years, he lit the board of math on fire. So J.H.R.D. is a direct supervisor, well-respected professor of mathematics at Cambridge, England, and the direct supervisor of Ramanujan. He's the one who gave the scholarship to the Ramanujan. Said, the most satisfying thing in my life was meeting my student Ramanujan. Can you believe a professor is telling meeting a student is the most powerful blessing he had? Billionaire physicist Stefan Wolfram, Stephen Wolfram, is a Mathematica, the inventor of the Mathematica. Is the what is it, automata, cellular automata, founder of cellular automata, founder of Mathematica said, but his greatest skill was, I think, something in a sense more mysterious and uncanny ability to tell what was significant and what might be deduced from it. These are the things that come from people. They're giving the accolades of this man, born in 1887. Think about that. What they said about him. So, what is number theory? Just I mentioned you, number theory is a life in numbers. I mentioned you how the life works in the 20 amino acids, how the diversity of life comes out of the 20 amino acids. Death, you can see with the microorganisms can kill millions of people, and then it's not over. We don't know what the next one is. So That is a microorganisms, these small numbers. Think about how many viruses on the planet that we cannot even match them the number wise. So death can be in the next door. We don't know. So now I did mention in the beginning days what is a God in numbers. This is science channel. Why I'm talking about God. So Ramanujan believed in God. I'm going to talk about a little bit about God here. So for the context, the epic Mahabharata, the India's Hindu sacred book, epic Mahabharata, there is two factions they were fighting. This is one of the epics of the Indian Hindu religion, epic Mahabharata. Pandavas and Kauravas are two factions. They're actually cousins. They were fighting for the lands. So the Pandavas are good guys, Kauravas are bad guys. That's what it is. The Lord Krishna was a god in that he was the chariot king. He runs the chariot. So he was on the side of the Pandavas, good guys. So what happened was that in the battle of that is a Kurukshetra, they went into war. When they went into war, the Pandavas, the good guy, one of the good guys said that they're all my cousins, they're all my teachers, all my friends. I can't kill them. That's what he said to the God, to the Krishna, the chariot king. They said that no, I cannot kill. I cannot go to war. He's a proficient Arjuna. His name is Arjuna. Is one of the fierce warrior of the Pandavas, the good guys. So he said that no, I cannot kill my friends and my brothers and my cousins. I cannot do that. And then Krishna, what he said that he said that he gave a profound wisdom and knowledge and said that you're just an mere actor, and you're following the orders of the God. I'm the savior, I'm the Lord. That's what he said. As you know, in Christianity is the same thing. It happens in general in all religions. If you sell them, hey, don't kill your neighbor, love your neighbor, or and then if you say Christianity, people believe, they eat good food, don't hurt people. These kind of things that people pay attention but don't care. As if you tell them eat good food, even nutritious food, people don't pay attention. They go back to the bad food again. Same thing in the philosophy, doesn't have effect. So what Jesus said that I walk on the water. He showed the magic. So he did. Then people started believing in it. It is it is in a similar context. What Lord Krishna said that I'm going. So he gave the profound knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita is a song of God. It is a profound knowledge of wisdom and philosophy of how to live life and all those things. But still, people are skeptical, right? The philosophy doesn't go too far. Then he wanted to show how many higher dimensional form of him. It's called a transcendental form. He showed the form and to the he assumed the form of a transcendental form is called Viswarupa in Hindi. Viswarupa is a huge. The form, it is a multi-dimensional form. It is all the dimensions he occupies. You can see the entire universe embedded with him. Then he says so Arjuna cannot see because that's such a huge higher dimensions. So if you see higher dimensions, we cannot see. We have only can see length, width, height, only three dimension. We are three-dimensional human beings. We cannot see more than our three dimensions. So Arjuna could not see the higher dimensions. So what Krishna said that I'm going to give you divine sight for you. I'm going to bless you a temporary divine sight to show you my higher dimensional form. So he blessed the divine sight to Arjuna. When he saw that, he saw a multi-dimensional form, omnipotent is the meaning of all, omniscient, the omnipresent, it is everywhere, all the places, and meaning of all, knowledge and wisdom, all those things that he saw in one shot, in one scene. That what Arjuna witnessed. He could not even believe that he said that I cannot even fathom that to watch you, that kind of a powerful figure. Yeah, I need to come down and give me my original sight because I cannot even imagine see the higher dimensional form of you. That is the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, essence of Bhagavad Gita. So he gave the profound wisdom and also showed the multi-dimensional form of him, the higher dimensions. So he told the Arjuna, you are just a spectator. Past, present, future are all immaterial. They're all done. You're just an actor in the whole game of the universal grand illusion. That's what he said, the reality. So let us go back to the physics now. When you go to string theory in the from the molecules DNA to all the way to the DNA has atoms, the hydrogen and carbon and all those phosphorus and all those atoms, then it has a fundamental particles, hydrogen, neutrons and neutrons, and then you further divide into that, you will get into strings. That's what the string theory says. String theory, but strings vibrate in higher dimensional forms. It's a multi-dimensional form. It has a different theories. Some of them are say 10, 11, some say 26 dimensions. Okay, so they wave in the 26 dimensions. To form an electron, they wave in a 26 dimensional forms. We have no access to those dimensions. We only see the electron by itself, but we cannot see the dimensional forms of that electrons. So 26 dimensions, the physics string theory is proposing it. But there is another. So now let us go back. I'm going to give you math. It's a mathematics here. This is called a monster group. This is a lot of monster group. It's a little complex subject, but I'm going to do my best. If you take a snowflake and rotate it around it different ways, it doesn't change, right? The number of ways you cannot tell the difference. That's a rotational symmetry. It's a symmetries. So mathematicians are very, very important for them symmetries are. If you take a chair that you rotate around different ways, it produces a groups. So it is a symmetry. They put in a groups. It's called a group theory. It's a very complex group theory, but it is. I don't want to. I'm not. It's above my pay grade to explain that group theory for me. But I can tell you. But these are the symmetries. Actually, one of the most celebrated woman nobody knows is a Yemi in others did the symmetry. This gave the equations for the symmetry equations. The symmetry. If you put all the groups together, it's very important for mathematicians to put these groups together. They put all the groups, the number of ways that you can rotate, the number of ways that you can move these objects. That is the rotational symmetries or transactional symmetries, reflection symmetries, all kinds of symmetries are there. It's basically arranging the different groups. So what do? You get 26 misfit groups. They found out, mathematicians stunned to see there are 26 misfit groups. They cannot fit in any groups. They called sporadic groups. They don't fit in anything. It stunned the mathematical world. And not only these groups are, because they thought that everything fits in everything, it is not. These 26 groups are not fitting anywhere. That stunned the really mathematical world. In fact, one of my previous alumni, university, Concordia University, John McKay, came up with this symmetry. This is 26 misfit groups that he came from Concordia University, Montreal, Canada, where I went to school. So that he came up with the 26 misfit groups. He could not fit anywhere, and it also spit out 196,883 dimensions. He gave dimensions. The books are not basically the group theory books are not balancing. These 26 misfit groups are not balancing anywhere. There are kind of odd structures that stayed there, and then they spit out the 196,883 dimensions. One of the biggest group of all is called a monster group, just to namesake. But the thing is that I showed you already, that is that so the Ramanujan gave a divine, because you cannot see all the dimensions. We don't have the divine sight, like Lord Krishna cannot give a divine sight for us. So we have a mathematics to give you this sight inside into the inside fractions. That's what the modular functions. That's a Ramanujan gave a modular functions. He combined the mathematics, the two unrelated fields at that time, mathematics and physics. He combined them together. That's called modular functions. They combined. He gave it the divine side. These modular functions are divine sights into the higher dimensional forms, into the he combined the physics and mathematics. He combined with his 100 years ago, 150 years ago equations he wrote, combine them together. That's the person who wrote this. They found this relationship, won the field medal, which is equal to Nobel Prize. But that is what the Ramanujan gave equations, unbelievable number of equations he gave. He spit out the mathematics. IBM without his Ramanujan Fourier algorithms, the Fourier algorithms they call, they combine them, Ramanujan and Fourier algorithms. Without that, IBM could not have spit out 77 compounds in 2 days, 2 weeks. It would have taken years, 100 years. So this Ramanujan Fourier algorithms helped them to similar algorithms, helped them to accelerate the process. The summit computer, the fastest computer on the planet, needed the Ramanujan mathematics or similar kind of mathematics. And then, for example, I sell a lot of EEG machines, EEG electroencephalograph, the brain. We don't know a lot of things that that where the epilepsy is coming from inside the brain. We don't know what cells are causing the epilepsy. So you need really, really weak signals coming from the inside of the brain. You need to filter out where it's coming from. You cannot. There is no way. You have to use Ramanujan filter banks. Are amazing. They say that they're in the still under the research is filtering out these things. They're pinpointing where exactly the noises are coming from. Epilepsy, low noises, seizures are coming from. So he is everywhere. He is in black holes. He gave a very powerful mathematical entropy, mathematics of the black holes, entropy of the black holes. He gave a mathematics for the entropy. Or that is now they are finding out. Oh, Ramanujan mathematics is giving a black hole entropy. Entropy is that the Hawking Stephen Hawking radiations is all related to the entropy. Then microorganisms like the viruses are the way the proteins, particularly they mutate so many ways. The protein, if the number of ways it mutates, and the numbers are unfathomable, right? It's runs to billions and trillions of numbers. So microorganisms, he gave mathematics. He gave a mathematics just showed you the mathematics for string theory. And then ATMs, people don't even know. ATMs use the Ramanujan mathematics because Ramanujan fast algorithms, because ATM is integer partitions they call. So the cache divisions, when they're distributing the cache, you need integer partitions. There's so many ways you can distribute. It is just a mind-boggling. They use the Ramanujan mathematics for that. That's a very surprising, but he is everywhere. And man, now there are so many people working on the Ramanujan papers. Still, Miranda Chang is University of Amsterdam. She's also a research scientist in the University of Paris, Paris Scientific Research Institute. She is working on the Ramanujan papers. She said that one day they asked her, how did Ramanujan arrive at these equations? She scratched her head. Still, I'm figuring out. I could not understand how he came out. That is what her answer was. Then another gentleman is Shamit Kachru, doctor, is from Stanford. He's a theoretical physicist. He's a director for the theoretical physicist. I'm a blessed to meet him, and I'm fortunate to meet him in person. It is a really wonderful to I got some lessons from him in that sense, a talk. So, and then there is another guy. His name is there is another Chinese doctor. Chinese is a mathematical genius. He's working on it. And then Manjul Bhargav. He won the field medal. He won the field medal. I tell you a story about it. I was in Princeton one day. I was walking around, and then with another doctor friend of mine. Then I bumped into him. Okay, and I didn't know who is he. He looks like a high school kid, just with the glasses and a thin guy. I asked him, can you show me how to get into, he's Indian. So I asked him, how do you get into a Starbucks? How do you get there to Starbucks? He was giving me directions. He said that, then I asked him, what do you do? He said that I'm a professor. I just dropped off my jaw and said, what do you mean you're a professor? You look like I just got into the freshman candidate. No, I'm a professor. I don't know. I didn't check on you, man. I don't believe you. So he was laughing, and we did a very brief conversation. He was talking about healthcare. I have no idea what is healthcare is. Even the geniuses, we have problem understanding healthcare. So think about that, the problem. So in healthcare. So Manjul Bhargav won the field medal actually. So yeah, then I wrote an email and he responded me back. Thanks, thank you, Manjul. I'm glad to meet you two great giants of the in number theory who are following the Ramanujan mathematics. And John Duncan is from Atlanta and Emory University. He's also doing a lot of math. He previously is Ken Mono is to be here. So they're all working on. These are the most brilliant minds of the century are working on this problem, and they're working on very strange problem. You know, if you see that what they're working on, the understanding is that MC Escher's the tessellations called angels and demons. That is a paragraph. They're working on angels and demons. These are advanced physics and scientists are working on stranger stuff, angels and demons of the on the MC Escher kind of tessellations. But so think about that. The incredible mind of Srinivasa Ramanujan came from a simple, humble beginnings. He wrote the equations on a slate with a chalk, and then with a oil lamp, he gave the world to the he blasted the world with these mathematical equations. Unbelievable. Still, people are grappling to understand what he wrote. That is a power of mind. What the Srinivasa Ramanujan showed us. There was a movie, the man who knew infinity. You should see it if you don't see it, if you have not seen it. But a man in simple, humble beginnings with no computers, nothing. It's simple, no electricity, no running water. And he gave the equations. Still, we are grappling. It says the power of a human mind. The hats off to the people like Srinivasa Ramanujan that we are still living. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me bring so I have a lot of. I'm going to play at the end, but I'm going to. You need to. I have a Ramanujan coffee cups, Ramanujan T-shirts you can buy on Amazon and Etsy. I need to support this program. You need to support it. But before I that, and let me bring um, Sherry back, and let's see what she says. A little bit of her final thoughts on on these things.
I,
Let
I
me-
loved your presentation, Robin, because you know that we met through other mutual friends who share your heritage and your culture. And one of the favorite things has been learning about Bhagavad Gita and and so it's a really interesting and fascinating for you to tie together all this history and culture with science and math and quantum computing, and that was really interesting. So thank you.
Thank you. Coming from you is a truly honor.
Oh,
Um,
thank
it is a very interesting with all our backgrounds. How we can use and benefit. So that's why interdisciplinary field is good. We need to accept that and understand the interdisciplinary field. You're doing that. Mobile medicine and then milligrams. I want to give you a couple of minutes of saying that what these people why they need this communication medigram is, as we already discussed about that, how vital this particularly your things. Do you want me to give you a quick rundown on those things? Your I can present. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's vital because it's still a leading cause of preventable death.
Yeah, just I want to yeah quickly if you can go through quickly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the other thing is that just physician well-being and their ability to get the information they need, quickly is really what motivates us to help enable them to do their job in a way that's satisfying and useful. And so you reached out to me because I had written this article about ecosystems for startups, especially for software and medical technology. And this is just the cover slide, just to warn people that it's not all roses and rainbows. So if you want to go to the next slide. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's well known amongst a lot of different research papers and institutions that
Can you
we
please
have.
talk loud a little bit,
We just
Shirley?
have that we have a challenge with innovation and creativity, and we need more of it because that's actually how you raise standard of living for entire populations is through innovation. That's how you drive growth for companies. Though we have a huge challenge with it, and the two biggest challenges, if you just go back to the prior slide really quickly,
Okay.
biggest challenges with it are just recent New York Times article, just that most people and organizations are actually deeply biased against innovation. It's just something to be aware of. And then the other thing is just the incentives are not there financially to foster innovation either. So if you want to go to the next slide. Yeah. So I do think it's important to have a network. It has to be a highly curated one, and not necessarily as open as people imagine. So if you want to go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is, I think, probably the most important slide that I had designed for you. And I'd mentioned earlier that physicians have very strong values, and a lot of scholars in South Asian culture share those similar values. And a lot of them also become physicians. And that's how you and I met, because we have a lot of family friends who are in medicine, who are South Asian, who we share values with of scholarship and ethics. And so another challenge in the startup ecosystem and in technology just in general is that misalignment between scholars, whether they're South Asian or physicians, whether they're American, and their common value of really of not doing harm, and being ethical, and how that's really it opposes a lot of what the general business ecosystem tends to be a little bit more careless in terms of not really caring who gets harmed, which is applies to privacy. It applies to
Talk loud a little bit. Yeah. Let's see.
applies to reliability and safety. It applies to a lot of different challenges with technology being useful and safe and reliable for patients across medicine, but even in things like autonomous vehicles. And so the challenge is, misalignment in values, and then also just the idea that the way that most of the large companies operate are really not, again, conducive to real innovation. And we do, a lot of entrepreneurs joke about them being like a Death Star, which is why this is a joke from a if people watch Star Wars from
Yeah.
yeah, from the website Den of Geek. So it's meant as a joke. Yeah, you want to go to the next?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one is one of my favorite graphics, because
Yes.
you don't want to just think about inventing something cool. You want to think about changing lives, saving lives, changing industries, and you really want to think about everything you need to do that. There's a lot of challenges, but you want to keep your eye on all these balls in terms of what talent do I have access to, and really cultivating talent in all these areas, so that not only can you develop something cool, but you can also build a company, an organization, a movement, a network, and an institution around that, if you have access to all these competencies.
This is my favorite slide also. If you need the PowerPoint, anybody wants a PowerPoint for this, you should go through medigram.com and she will send it to you probably. And if you get in touch with her. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then you want to go to the next. I think I might have had one more slide. Yeah, and then here, I just want to emphasize the value of teamwork. I consider you, Ramana, a teammate, an intellectual, a friend, that we can learn things from each other and teach each other things. And I appreciate you hosting me here. And you just want to always cultivate and build and find those people that share the same values as you. So I wrote in college and that has been had a huge impact on who I am. And so I love the two analogies of rowing as well as mountain climbing, but not by yourself, right? You're doing it with people that you care about, that you trust, and that you really truly enjoy being with, whether that's in life or at work. And if you want to go to the last slide towards to the end, yeah, so just how we reconnected. We built a multidisciplinary team of 27 people, initially around mobile medicine, and then we had about 25 for advanced health technology. They're across medicine, engineering, IT, informatics, uh, implementation, cybersecurity, privacy, leadership, risk management, and so all of the functions and expertise that you need to really be successful for software and medical technology are all very well researched and described in these two books that are both available on Amazon.
Yeah, I remember meeting you when you actual idea to IPO or something. I was sitting next to you. You mentioned the Medigram just started it. I do remember that Medigram was new to Silicon Valley at the time. You were next to me, sitting down next to me, and said, "So I just opened a Medigram thing." That's a long time ago. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is.
So
So,
most medical products actually take 10 to 17 years. And that's
mhm.
another thing that the tech industry is not used to, right? That you have to have publications, which is why we have books, but you have to have a lot of interaction with the physicians, and it takes time, right?
Yeah, sure. It takes a lot of time, but thank you. It is a truly honor. I learn a lot from you all the times. You
Oh,
know that you are in the front lines of Silicon Valley, and you are there all the times, and then you're in the front. I think a lot of people other parts of the country, they think they know innovations. Innovation requires all aspects of things. Silicon Valley is an important factor, and the other ones. If I would not have gone to Silicon Valley, I would not have understood all those things. So
yeah,
really, thanks for that kind of opportunity that I had to visit and spend time there.
yeah.
So actually, it is a truly an honor, and thanks for coming to the podcast. You're always welcome anytime.
Oh,
Let
thank
me.
you so much. Can you put a link? I'm actually interested in getting my husband one of those Ramanujan t-shirts. Can you put a link in the chat
Yeah,
there?
it's on actually Ramana. If you can go to Ramana.com, my name, there is all the t-shirts or all everything is there in
Okay.
the coffee cups.
Is it in
Ramana.
your email? Yeah. Okay,
In
great.
it's on the Ramana.com. I'm going to play that video. You can see that
Okay.
www.ramana.com. That's a
Okay.
Etsy. It's on Etsy.
Okay.
You can buy on Etsy all those things. But I will send one for you in the definitely one for you. Your husband should buy. He can afford it. So let me play this. That
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.
Thank you all. Bye.